The 2008 financial crisis wiped out trillions of dollars of wealth in less than 18 months. Housing values collapsed, retirement accounts were cut in half. Millions of people lost jobs, homes, and years of financial progress. And a small, quiet group of investors had the best decade of their financial lives immediately afterward. Not because they predicted the crash, not because they had inside information or exceptional skill, because they understood one thing, that the majority of investors never learn until it is too late to apply. A recession is not a financial threat to be survived. It is a transfer mechanism. Wealth moves from the unprepared to the prepared every single time. With remarkable consistency across every major economic downturn in the last 100 years. The signals currently visible in the economy, corporate debt at historic highs, inverted yield curves, declining consumer savings rates, speculative market behavior, are the same signals that preceded 2008 and the dot-com crash. Whether the precise timing is 2026 or adjacent to it, the preparation required is identical, and the window to build that preparation is always before the crash, not during it. My name is Anderson. Today I want to walk you through the three-phase system that separates the investors who build wealth through recessions from the ones who spend years recovering from them. Phase number 1, the build-up. What you do right now? Most people treat economic warning signs as background noise. They hear that the yield curve has inverted, that corporate debt is elevated, that consumer savings rates have dropped to levels that historically precede contractions, and they do nothing, because nothing has visibly broken yet. The market is still relatively high, the headlines are not catastrophic, the instinct is to wait for clearer evidence before adjusting. That instinct is precisely what makes the crash so expensive for the unprepared. By the time the evidence is clear, the prices you needed to be buying at are already gone, and the prices you needed to have sold at are already history. The first move in phase 1 is an honest assessment of your current risk exposure, not the risk you are theoretically comfortable with, the risk you would actually tolerate watching your portfolio decline by 40%. A 40% decline on a $50,000 portfolio is $20,000 gone. A 40% decline on $200,000 is $80,000. Those numbers produce different emotional responses. If the real number, applied to your actual balance, would cause you to sell during the decline, your current allocation is more aggressive than your behavior can sustain. The time to discover that is now, not when the red numbers arrive. The second move is reducing leverage if you are using it. Borrowed money amplifies gains in rising markets and amplifies destruction in falling ones. A margin call during a declining market forces you to sell at the worst possible prices to satisfy the lender. The investors who move from wealthy to broke overnight during recessions are almost always leveraged investors whose positions unwound against them faster than they could respond. The third move, and the one most people skip because it feels counterintuitive during a still rising market, is building a separate cash reserve specifically designated for investing during the crash. Not your emergency fund, not your general savings, a dedicated pool of capital sitting in a high-yield savings account earning 4 to 5% while it waits. Here is the specific target. If you currently invest $500 per month, build a separate reserve of $1,500 to $3,000 earmarked exclusively for deployment during the decline. This is the capital that purchases quality assets at 30 and 40% discounts while everyone around you is selling in panic. The people who made their fortunes during the 2008 crash were not smarter than everyone else. They had cash ready when others did not. The fourth move is genuine diversification now, before the crash reveals which sectors get hit hardest. In 2008, financial stocks dropped more than 55%. In 2020, travel and hospitality collapsed while technology stocks rose. Nobody predicted the distribution of damage accurately. The protection is spread across sectors, asset classes, and geographies, so that no single catastrophic outcome eliminates the portfolio. Phase number 2, the crash. What you do when it arrives. Here is the most important thing to understand about the crash phase. It will feel worse than you prepared for. Not because your preparation was wrong, but because watching real money decline in real time produces a physical stress response that no amount of theoretical understanding fully neutralizes. The fidelity research on this is precise and worth memorizing. $10,000 invested in the S&P 500 from January 1980 to December 2022, held without interruption, grew to over $1 million. The same $10,000, with the investor missing just the 5 best trading days across those 42 years, produced approximately $671,000. Missing the 50 best days produced $76,000. The critical detail is where those best days occurred. Research from JP Morgan found that 7 of the 10 single best trading days in S&P 500 history happened during or immediately after the worst crashes. The investor who sold during the crash to stop the pain was out of the market on the exact days that produced the most powerful recoveries. They absorbed every loss. They missed every rebound. This is why selling during a crash is not protecting yourself. It is converting temporary paper losses into permanent real ones, then missing the recovery that would have erased them. What you do instead is deploy the cash reserve you built in phase 1, not all at once. Because nobody can identify the exact bottom, and attempting to do so produces paralysis. Dollar cost averaging, a fixed amount deployed weekly regardless of where the market is, so that as prices fall, your fixed contribution purchases more shares at progressively lower prices. Here is what that looks like in practice. Before the crash, index fund shares cost $400. Your $200 weekly contribution buys half a share. The crash arrives and shares fall to $200. The same $200 buys a full share. Shares fall further to $100. $200 buys 2 shares. When the market recovers to $400, those shares purchased at $100 are worth 4 times what you paid for them, not because you timed the market, because you kept buying through the decline while others were selling. If this is reframing how you think about what a recession actually means for your finances, take 2 seconds to hit the like button. It genuinely helps the channel, and I notice every single one. Phase number 3, the recovery, where the patience pays. The recovery phase is where most people make their second significant mistake. After surviving the crash without selling, they expect the recovery to be fast and linear. It is almost never either. After the 2008 crash, the market fully recovered by 2013, approximately 4 years. After the 2020 crash, recovery came in approximately 5 months. The timeline varies enormously. What does not vary is the eventual direction. Here is what the numbers produce for the investor who executed phases 1 and 2 correctly. Start with $10,000 invested before the crash. The market declines 40%. The portfolio is now worth $6,000 on paper. But you did not sell. You also deployed $3,000 in cash during the decline using dollar cost averaging at prices averaging 40% below their pre-crash levels. As the market returns to its previous high, the original $10,000 is worth $10,000 again. The $3,000 deployed at a 40% discount is now worth approximately $5,000. Total portfolio value, $15,000. From a starting position of $10,000 through a crash that halved many investors' portfolios, you produced a 50% gain. That is not a lucky outcome. It is the arithmetic of staying invested, deploying capital during the decline, and waiting for the recovery that always follows. Some practicable steps to take this week. This week, calculate the real dollar impact of a 40% market decline on your current portfolio, not the percentage, the specific dollar amount. Then ask yourself honestly whether that number would cause you to sell during the decline. If the answer is yes, your allocation is currently more aggressive than your behavior can sustain. Adjust before the decline arrives, not during it. This month, open a separate high-yield savings account designated exclusively as your recession investment reserve. Set up an automatic monthly transfer into it separate from your regular investment contributions. The target is $1,500 to $3,000, built before the market shows obvious signs of distress. This quarter, audit your portfolio allocation for genuine diversification across sectors, asset classes, and geographies. If more than 30% of your invested capital is concentrated in a single sector, redistribute before the crash reveals which sector absorbs the worst damage. And this year, write your recession investment plan now. Specifically, at what market decline percentage you will begin deploying your reserve, how much you will invest per week, and the specific assets you will purchase. Decisions made in calm conditions with a clear mind are categorically more reliable than decisions made when red numbers are on every screen, and fear is the dominant emotion in every financial conversation. Before you go, let me say this. Every major recession in the last century transferred wealth from unprepared investors to prepared ones. 2008, 2020, the dot-com crash. Each time, the pattern was identical. The unprepared sold at the bottom, locked in losses, and missed the recoveries. The prepared held what they owned, deployed capital at the discounts fear created, and came out the other side with portfolios that had grown through the crash rather than been damaged by it. The recession coming in 2026, or whenever the next significant contraction arrives, will follow the same pattern. The wealth transfer will happen whether you participate in it as a beneficiary or a victim. The difference is not intelligence. It is not income. It is not access to information that others lack. It is preparation made before the crash, while there is still time to build the cash reserve, reduce the leverage, diversify the portfolio, and write the plan that governs behavior when every instinct is pointing toward the exit. The window to build that preparation is open right now. It will not be open when the crash is on the front page of every financial publication. By then, the prices you needed to be buying at will already be gone. If you are getting something real from these videos, consider subscribing. I make one every week, and I try to make every single one worth the time you gave it. I'm Anderson. I'll see you in the next one.